There's a pretty one, Ulysses. There it is.
So do you have a cocktail or not?
No.
No.
I have tea.
Tea's fine, yeah. Yep. You don't mind that I'm imbibing?
Not at all. I didn't expect anything less, Shawn.
I don't usually do, because usually when I'm doing something internationally, it's not at the right time for me to be drinking, but this one worked out.
Oh.
Tickety-boo.
So my name is Natalie.
Yes.
But Natalie. So it's spelt the same, but sounds different. And then my middle name is Meree, which sounds the same, but spelt different. Because my parents decided that would be a good idea.
Special.
Apparently.
Awesome. Are we talking about middle names? My middle name is Roy. Isn't that sexy?
Shawn Roy. Is that a family name?
It is. My great uncle, who was a farmer and liked to wear his mother's bonnet out in the field, never married, was a voracious reader who died aged 80. He died about 5 years before I was born, and I think that I inherited more than the name.
But that's a good thing, right?
Yeah. And there's no biology because I'm adopted, but I never had the courage to ask my grandma, who lived to be 101 and who I came out to, and she was lovely, but I never had the heart to ask her if her oldest brother was a big homo. I never did.
Has anybody alluded to it in the family, or you've
Never
just got
that I
your
heard,
suspicion?
but my parents wondered, their generation, you know,
Yeah.
but I never heard my grandma speak of it, and she was wonderful about me, but I just didn't know how she'd be about me asking about great Uncle Roy. Hello, BookTube. I'm Shawn the Book Maniac. Welcome back to my channel. I am here with a very special guest. I am just freaking out. I'm so excited to have Natalie on my channel. Natalie's channel used to be My Reading Days, and she has changed it about 7 times since then. And currently it is Natalie Meree. Welcome, Natalie.
Hello, Shawn. I'm excited to be here too.
Yeah, we're just giddy as all get out. So who is Natalie Meree?
That's me.
Channel name?
That's my first and middle name. I changed it from, I was My Reading Days forever, wasn't I? And then I stopped reading. But I missed putting up videos and chatting with all of my friends. And so I just thought that I couldn't put up a video unless I was reading, because it was a BookTube channel, which it still pretty much is. But I just decided to put it in my own name and kind of stand in that. And I vlog a lot, which it doesn't always include books. So I just kind of thought I'd just stand in my own name and claim that and go from there.
It's fabulous. Natalie Meree.
That's it.
Rolls trippingly off the tongue. And I would say Natalie is, so this is an occasional series that I do where I bring booktubers on my channel for a chat. And the purpose, one of the many purposes, is especially my booktuber friends or people that I follow who I think are woefully undersubscribed. So you all must go and check Natalie's channel, because she is one of my very most favorite booktubers, and she is the queen of vlogging. Or as Shawn the Book Maniac would put it, the queen of vlogging. I use Natalie's vlogs for therapy. I just feel so calm watching.
Yes. Lots of people say that. I find that strange, because I vlog about my life with kids and trying to fit reading in, and I clean a lot. But lots of people say it's coming, so I'm glad that I can bring that to you.
I think that what your channel achieves that is, I think, unique, is you embed your reading in your life. We all do, but you show that. You show how your reading life, your reading days are embedded in and amongst a very hectic life much of the time.
Yeah.
Now I think there's a goat or two in the picture.
No, there were 2 lambs.
Oh,
but
lambs. I'm not good with animals.
Kind of, sort of. Yeah, there were 2 lambs, but they've since moved on, Shawn.
Oh, I missed
Yes, they couldn't stay. It was nuts. I was bottle feeding them, and we were taking care of them for the farmer next door, but he returned home, so we handed them over happily.
Your vlogs are to die for.
Thank you. That's very kind.
What's this new thing everybody's talking about? AMDR or something?
AMDR?
No,
ASMR?
That, what is it?
I just read a short story about this very thing. It's noises, isn't it? It's people just making noises. Some people scratch their beards and record it. It's bizarre.
The purpose of it is it achieves some psychological effect on the listener, right?
Okay. I have no idea.
I think there's a lot of videos on YouTube. I haven't investigated at all, but I believe that you can watch people studying and it's, you know, the audio is enhanced, but you're watching them too. Or you can watch people reading. And and it's all this new thing. And so you are at the cutting edge, because if I want a hit of any of that therapy, I will just go to Natalie Meree.
Oh, thank you. Where are your vlogs, by the way? I haven't seen a vlog from you in a while. That's
a good question. I don't really like doing them.
Oh, but I like them.
Yeah, but I think, especially during the pandemic, but even before that, I mean, I go to the same places and so I have vlog walking down the street and around my home or on the train, but if I'm not going about my business, I like to be at home, and I don't think those vlogs of mine anyway are very interesting. I have a husband who doesn't want to be on camera. So if we're out together, it's kind of uncomfortable. It doesn't really work. So I've just kind of gotten away from it. I think that, you know, I will do it again, but I just think I've made several vlogs of going the same place or on the same train or showing the same Japanese scenery, and it's gotten kind of old for me. So I think it is all about watching how people fit reading into their lives, right? So even if it is, for me, watch as a observer, it's just watching how you structure your days and get a bit of reading in here and then go about your business, and I enjoy that as well, even if it's the same thing over and over again. But you've got to you've got to enjoy making them, don't you? Right. I'm glad you asked me, because it will make me think about it some more, but I've kind of gotten away from it. So what kind of a reader are you, Natalie? I know, but...
Oh. Am I a mood reader, Shawn? Am I the definition of a mood reader?
Oh, I thought it was moody reader. No, just kidding. Well, the first thing, if I had to describe Natalie in 2 words as a reader, she's an emotional reader. You're an emotional.
Oh, I need the emotion. I need the attachment to character. And I need that to be fulfilled, which I don't need it to be wrapped up in a nice little bow, but I certainly need to be able to see something from somebody else's point of view and that be fulfilled. I'm also like you. I mean, your Sunday sentences are my jam, because the beauty in the writing also drags me in. It could have a crap story, but if it's written beautifully, I'm there. So I am an emotional reader, aren't I? I do cry a lot when I read.
And you express far better than anybody I know, certainly better than I do, your emotional reaction to what you read. And there's something that you are willing to go that extra step into making yourself vulnerable on camera about what you read. And it's it's fabulous.
Oh, wow.
I mean, it's so sincere. There's nothing put on about it. It's just you, and often your hair is messy or you're wearing a dirty shirt. And I love all of that. It's like you are just you.
Oh, that's great, because there's nothing put on about it. It is simply just me recording that moment. And I think that for me, that's the important part. If I don't get that emotional pull or that emotional reaction, then I'm out of there. I'm reading Jane Eyre at the moment.
Saw that.
Have you read it?
I read it about 4 years ago, yes.
Okay. And I wasn't getting that emotional pull.
Mm.
And I'm about, I don't know, I think Goodreads says I'm about 40% through. So I was about to throw it out the window, but now I'm back engaged. So yeah, I really desperately need that connection.
I gave it 5 stars when I read it, and I feel in retrospect that was too generous, and it's not aging well in my memory. And I'm one of those people, like, I loved Wuthering Heights by Emily Bronte. And I hated, Anne Bronte is the one about when she was a governess. Agnes Grey, Anne Bronte's Agnes Grey was just terrible. And in retrospect, I would say that all I really loved about Jane Eyre was Rochester.
Did you love him?
Well, I mean, he's not a lovable character, but it was his role in the story that finally got out of the prissy Pollyanna crap.
Yeah.
So I'm a little, I'm not like I say, I gave it 5 stars, but that was kind of peer pressure. Like, I hadn't read it, I hadn't studied it, and I was getting older, and I read it and thought, yeah, it's good, 5 stars, but yeah, no, I think I need to reread it. But I'm feeling kind of hostile to Jane.
I would say I would be surprised that you would give it 5 stars based on what I've read so far. But
I have become much more curmudgeonly since I read it.
So what kind of reader are you, would you say?
I think we are very much alike. I read almost completely solely for emotional satisfaction. If I don't feel connected in an emotional sense to a book, the characters, the story, it's not a Shawn book. And the power of beautiful writing affects me emotionally as well. So I think we're very similar. We don't necessarily agree on we have different books that affect us in polar opposite ways, but we have the same kind of criteria. Yeah, I think
I would say that.
We're sisters.
Oh, I like that. And I would say I'm like you as well. When I see your bales and you recite the line that just made you want to puke and then you threw the book across the room, I'm the same. Once you cross me, I can't go back. And that, I find that really hard because that sticks with me. That's what's happening in Jane Eyre. Anyway.
Oh, really? See, I don't remember writing from that so much.
Oh, it's great. It's fine. But Rochester is a pain in my side.
Oh, so you're not loving Rochester. I mean, you're not supposed to. You're not supposed to love Rochester. And I didn't love him, but I thought he was the interesting character. Jane was just...
Ugh. Painful. I just read the scene where Rochester pretended to be the fortune teller.
Oh, that was terrible. That should have been left out.
Terrible.
Oh, it was just... It was puke-worthy, like, no. Yeah.
Yes, but here's something we can talk about. It's actually my first audiobook.
Oh.
I'm listening to it on audio, and I've never listened to an audiobook before, and I'm listening to a free version on Spotify, and I'm really enjoying that experience.
Oh, great. And do you happen to know who the narrator is?
Oh, I should know those things, shouldn't I?
Okay. But for me, the narrator is the most important thing. If the narrator's voice doesn't pull me deeper into the story, it's not worth it. But obviously, something's working about the audio version.
Do you follow audiobook narrators, or do you just get excited when you know one that you love is reading a book that you're interested in? Is that a thing, to follow an audiobook narrator around?
Sure, but I am so precious, Natalie, that... And so it's why I've kind of gotten away from audiobooks, because if I discover a narrator that is perfect, is like the narrator for me, I get so attached to that narrator's rendition of a particular novel that I can't make the leap with the narrator to another audiobook. Because when I listen to the other audiobook, that audio narrator's voice keeps putting me back into the other book. And I get angry because this one's so different. So I can, usually an audio narrator is only one and done.
Okay.
The exception being the British actor and audiobook narrator Juliet Stevenson, who has done several of the Virginia Woolf novels. So I can follow her to another Virginia Woolf novel. It's okay. But I can't follow her to another novel because I have tried. So
Yeah, right.
I have always been very sensitive to the human voice. I react to any little modulation, any little nuance. It affects me about 100 times more than the average Joe. So.
Okay. And so when you hear that person's voice, you're still thinking about the previous novel. You can't move on to the next.
That's right.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I didn't think about that, but I could see how that could be a pain. I don't know if the classics maybe, and having that read to you, is there something nice and comforting about that? Well, I'm finding it really comforting, but I'll have to give it a try on a contemporary book.
I have started a 100-hour audiobook.
Have you? Which one?
A 1748 novel called Clarissa by Samuel Richardson. And it took me over a year to do volume 1 of 3, and that was 33 hours. But I loved it, and I'm going to pick up volume 2 early in next year.
Right. There's 3 volumes.
Each one is about 33 hours. So.
That's it. But worth it.
I love it. Yeah, I love it. So you're no longer an audiobook virgin.
I am not.
Any other bookish virginities that you have to tackle?
The sci-fi, the fantasy.
Oh, no, we don't discuss genre fiction on my channel.
I apologize. I forgot who I was talking to. What do I have to? I don't know. That's a really great question. I've never read a series from start to finish. Do you read series of books?
I don't seek them out, but I am reading. I'm finishing up a series by a Norwegian novelist, Cora Sandel, from the first half of the 20th century, and on volume 3, that's the final volume. But yeah, I'm not a big series reader. The Hilary Mantel series, I'm going to start volume 3 in the early new year. Have you read Hilary Mantel's? Are you?
No. On my shelf, and I would like to. I really would. I did start and then ran away from it. But yeah, I would really like to. I just remember Mel from Mel's Bookland Adventures. She's great.
Who's left us?
We need her back.
Yeah.
She always had these great series that she would speak about and roll through. And I've written them all down, just never tackled them. Barchester Towers, I've started that. Have you read that series?
I like some of Trollope very much, but I have to say that I thought your first volume, Barchester Towers, was pretty boring.
Yeah.
It was too churchy for me. It felt like it was Christian fiction, like not just fiction about religious people, but it was actually Christian fiction. I struggled with it. It was many years ago that I read it, but I didn't care for it. I haven't gone further than that in the series.
I'm probably halfway through the first one, and I'm not having that same experience. I'm actually really enjoying it.
That's because you're a much better Christian than me.
Maybe I am. But yeah, do you have any bookish virginities? That is a tough question.
It's a fascinating question, but one that I, came out of nowhere for me to ask you. And now that you're lobbing it back to me, I don't think so, because I just, I have tried genre fiction and different things, and it's usually not gone well. There's maybe 2 or 3 exceptions where like I actually liked a mystery novel or a thriller or something, but I could count them on one hand. No, I'm a book slut. There's no virginity here.
I like it. Are we literary fiction readers? Is that what we are?
I definitely am. I think you are at least mostly, aren't you?
I guess so.
I don't read genre fiction, but there is a thing called commercial fiction, which sometimes, rarely, but sometimes it's good enough that I would consider it literary fiction.
Yeah.
But beyond that...
Is this commercial fiction? Have you read this?
That is translated fiction, I would say, and I wanted to talk to you about that, so please, let's go. I bailed on it after about 2 chapters.
Shawn, what didn't you like?
It read to me like a history textbook that had a few family stories put in between. It was really textbook history-ish. It didn't hold my interest. I love history, but I just thought it didn't work.
I could see that.
You're enjoying it?
I love it.
Oh, great.
I absolutely. But I just finished, it's divided into the different characters, that go through the family. And I just finished one of the son's parts, and he was in the Navy. And so that read, and during the war, so there was a lot of factual information in there. So I'll take that on board.
But it's a very successful novel. Lots of people loved it. Eric Carl Anderson, I think, loved it. I think he interviewed the author and the translator on his channel. It just didn't work for me. It was just, there was something about it that was just not literary enough for me.
And when you explained in your Sunday sentences and things, those lines and what you love, I see how literary that is. So maybe you're a literary reader and I'm what did you call it? Not contemporary. What did you call it?
Commercial fiction. A lot of people would say it's very literary. I think it was nominated for the Booker International Prize this year. Just, it didn't work for me. It's such a chunky novel that as soon as I started to feel uncomfortable, what I did was I checked on Goodreads reviews, and I checked the lower rated, like the 2-star, 3-star, 1-star reviews, and they all commented on the thing that I wasn't liking from the beginning, and I just thought, no, I'm out. So I thought it might be fun to do a show and tell of the last couple books that we have brought in that we may not have hauled otherwise. This video may not go up for a month, but I'd like to do a show and tell. Have you got some new books that you brought into the house that you'd like to show us?
I do. Shall I go first?
Please.
Okay. This is Delicious. Lauren Amy Curtis. It's a tiny book. And I bought this to read through. We're reading through the Readings Prize list. Readings is an independent bookstore in Victoria, in Australia, and they put out a prize every year. And I don't know if it's debut novelists or debut books, but it's got something to do with debuts. I should know that. And every year we read through the list. And so I bought this.
And when you say we, you have a fabulous group of booktubers that read Australian fiction together, right?
Yeah, fabulous. It's great. Thank you. But it's Simon Savage, Jacqueline from 6 Minutes for Me, and Julia from Julia's Book Time. So there's 3 Aussies and a ring-in Englishman. Yeah, but this is our 3rd year of reading it together, and we've found some real gems. It's been great, but this wasn't one of them for me.
Oh.
But it's too short, Shawn. It's too short. That's the problem. And this year on the prize has been 3 short story collections and this guy and 2 other novels. So it's been a tough one for me because I need more.
Did I see a reaction video to the long list or the short list where you were grimacing every time there was a short story collection?
Yes, you did. I know.
That was hilarious.
Oh, it's been a tough one. Yeah, look, the others, they can speak for themselves, but they didn't grimace as much as I did. And I was really looking forward to this one. I didn't know at the time that it was so short. But this is about a woman who lands on a convent doorstep in Spain and is pregnant, and sort of how she got to be there. And it speaks a lot to young women being used as sexual objects by men. And so there's some great themes. It just wasn't. It's too short. It could have been 200 pages longer and really developed into something wonderful. The writing was great. That's one of my latest bookish acquisitions.
So you're not in the habit of enjoying novellas?
No.
Natalie, did you see what I did there? You're not in the habit of enjoying novellas?
Sorry, I missed that wonderful pun.
Well, this couldn't be more different from your first one. This is called Pete's Underpants by Bertie Marshall.
What? Are they his underpants in those photos on the cover?
I don't know. You tell me. It seems to be like a cake and a man's left of this torso. But this is from a small press in the UK called Dostoevsky Wannabe, which I love the
What a
name.
great,
Yeah, what a great
yeah.
name. 2019. I stumbled upon this, I don't know how, but just recently and bought it. And this is going to be a buddy read or Zoom discussion with Dan of the Weird Book Club. Do you know his channel? Yeah.
Yeah, I do.
So this is a gay memoir. It is described as a memoir, essay, elegy, novella, and vaudeville mashup. And it's
What?
about the author's complex affair with a young American man at the end of the 20th century. So
Oh, that'll be.
very short, 100 pages, and probably very sexual, but I don't know. The title would lead one to think so.
You think so? I would like to ask you a question.
Yep.
Where you just find these books that I've never heard of, never seen? I'm not on the socials very often or anything like that, but is that where you get your recommendations from?
Sure. I find out about a lot of books on Twitter. But I have a large number of friends on Goodreads, and I'm always checking out what they're reading. But really, the unique ones I'm finding on Twitter. And I think this small press, Dostoevsky Wannabe, somebody had talked about a couple books by a transgender writer that I bought. I haven't read them yet, and they're also very short. And I just decided to check what else they had about 10 days ago. And they had this one, and it was in stock on a internet bookseller that we don't mention the name of in polite company. And they had it in stock here in Tokyo, and I got it today. So yeah.
Oh, fantastic.
Stay tuned, BookTube. Stay tuned.
Can't wait. Read it now.
What's your second?
Oh, my second one. Well, the second one is for the same thing, but it's the short story collection. It's called, look at this cover, isn't it great? Smart Ovens for Lonely People. It's a story in the book, and this is a short story collection that I'm enjoying.
Oh.
I know. And it's weird and quirky, which I don't normally enjoy, but her writing is amazing. Lots of commentary on society and expectations and all that sort of stuff, but done in a really cool, quirky way. There's a story about mermaids who escape from the aquatic tank that they're stuck in a Chinese restaurant. So just really bizarre themes, but with this really great underlying message that isn't too cryptic. Yeah, this is also on the list. I'm glad I found.
Tell me a little bit about the author.
Let's find out together. From Perth. There you go. Do you know how I just banged on about the Readings Prize being about debuts? This is her second book. So I don't really know what I'm talking about there. But the story about that Smart Ovens for Lonely People is about a woman who's depressed, who gets an oven shaped like a cat that talks to her and helps her cook and helps her work out the core of her depressive thoughts. So there you go.
Wow.
Quirky,
that is deep.
Quirky, but great. There you go. There's my two.
That's
What's
fabulous.
your next one?
My next and final one is the ugliest book that I have in my library, I think. It came in the mail today. It's what do you call it? Print on demand or whatever. I think they only print the copy when you order it. And the cover is, it's paperback, but the cover is really glossy, like much glossier than a normal book, which I don't care about, but this has to be the ugliest. But maybe I don't care because it's a fairly, let's see, when was it published in English? It's a translated Japanese novel. The translation was originally published in 1984. And this is one of those print-on-demand copies, but it is really the ugliest. Look at that. You can't even see. Look at the font. Look at the color of the font. Like, it's just terrible.
That is terrible.
And it's just the worst. The Twilight Years is the English title, and the author is, I can't even read. Like, you can't even read that. I have to open the inside page. Sawako Ariyoshi. English speakers would say Sawako Ariyoshi, and translator is Mildred Tahari. The reason that I bought it, didn't know how ugly it was going to be, but the reason I bought it was, I don't want to be as presumptuous as to call him a friend quite yet, but he is a buddy of mine on Twitter, and I have interviewed him on my channel, the Irish novelist Ronan Hession. The
Okay.
author, his debut is called Leonard and Hungry Paul.
Oh,
And I interviewed him in a Zoom call like this with him, and he talked about his reading. He's a voracious reader, and he loves Japanese fiction, and especially Japanese women writers. And this is one that he recently said he loved. So I ordered it, and it's butt ugly, but I hope it's good.
and from the underpants to the ugliest.
That's right.
Yes, indeed. I read a Hardy every year for Victober, but I haven't even picked it up yet. I love Thomas Hardy. My first Victober book ever was Far from the Madding Crowd, and I adore it.
And I read it earlier this year, and I agree with you 100%.
Good. I've had the pleasure of being in a Voxer reading club with Kate Howe and Kate Tonks and Adam from Memento Mori.
Ooh.
And we've been reading through a few different Hardys. I've dropped out on the last couple because it was a lot, but like just the amount of reading to be done. Those guys are very good at keeping to schedules. I'm not. So yeah, I'm going out on my own to read The Trumpet Major. Have you read any more Hardys other than Manning Crowd?
As an undergrad, I started with The Mayor of Casterbridge.
Okay, I haven't read that one yet.
I loved that. And about 10 years ago on my own, I read Jude the Obscure, and I didn't love it so much. I liked it. It was weird. It was his maybe last novel. It was almost like kind of modern fiction, almost experimental, and didn't love it. A couple of years ago for Victober, I read Under the Greenwood Tree, which I loved, and then Far from the Madding Crowd, which I loved.
Oh, Hardy would be my favourite. Not that I'm well versed on Victorian classics, but yeah, I definitely look forward to reading a Hardy every Victober.
I have decided that a future editing project for me is I would like to put together a collection of his humorous pieces.
Okay.
Yeah, and get it published. And I have a working title. Can you guess what the working title is?
I wouldn't even begin to try to guess what it would be. Let's go. Hit me with it.
Hardy har har.
Oh, Shawn, that must be done. Oh, please fulfill that project. That sounds.
The project is a total joke just to set up for fun, but
can't we do it though? Can't we do it?
Okay, let's do it. You'll be my co-editor for the Hardy Har Har project, Natalie.
Oh, I would love to. It would be my honor.
But thank you so much, Natalie. Please come back.
I will. Thank you for having me on your channel.
Thank you, my dear.